Hello and welcome to Sons of Olympia. I'm Matt.
And I'm George, and we're brothers.
And our parents are Olympians.
Yes, we are the two sons of Olympian parents who have failed to fulfill their genetic potential.
And like all underachieving children, we have decided to start a podcast.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about some of the world's hardest sports. What are those sports and what makes them so hard? So that's what we'll be chatting about today.
Yes.
But first, how are you all doing, Matthew? Good?
Well, I'm well, I'm healthy, I'm enjoying the sunshine.
Hashtag too blessed to be stressed.
So blessed right now. Yeah, how are you?
Nice. Good. Well, just over 2 weeks till the London Marathon.
Is it that close? Oh my
yes,
God.
And I know I've moaned about it before. My training hasn't been brilliant as of late, but I did manage 31 kilometres on the weekend despite a sore leg in quite hot weather. So I'm feeling okay.
Any runs with the seagull costume on yet?
No. So this is what I'm going to be wearing for the listeners. It's quite a thick, heavy set head. A lot of fluff in there, a lot of filler. So this week
a lot of down. Lots of down feathers, maybe.
Certainly a lot of feathers in there. But this week I'm going to be just embracing it, and I'm going to go do some runs around Falmouth in the costume with the QR code on the back. The fundraising is now at critical level.
Don't worry, it will flood in the hours before.
I'm out of the 4 RSPB runners. I am now bottom of the leaderboard in the fundraising target.
The bailiffs will be coming round.
So I am going to be losing followers left and right as I get more and more desperate for those pennies. But
it's going to be fine.
It is going to be fine. I'll do a couple runs in it. Hopefully it's not going to be too hot on the day, because that will be the problem.
Yeah, I wanted to get your opinion on this as a soon-to-be London marathoner. Paris Marathon is this weekend, and they have decided to not provide any pre-made hydration, so no cups, no bottles, nothing. So they are saying for runners, you have to bring your own collapsible cup or hydration pouch, and they have little hoses, volunteers with hoses that go to fill you up. Thoughts on this as a runner?
I mean, I would be annoyed if I was running the Paris Marathon. I think you don't want to be carrying a bottle of water around. And it's like, what, am I going to stop and fill it up from a little tap? Or just like hold it in front of the hose? Yeah,
you have to actually stop. And they say, I can't remember the exact fill rate, but it's quite quick. But it could be so powerful that you put your cup out and it's just sloshes out.
You'll have
but you will have to actually stop, which if you're on for a PB or if you want to run fast, that's not what you want, is it?
No. And is that going to apply for the elites? Surely not. Surely
no.
They will have a team maybe.
Well, the elites have their own bottles and stuff like that. But
I mean, what's wrong with a paper cup? What's wrong with paper cups?
Good question.
I know we don't want bottles, and I understand it's a load of litter and they get chucked all around the streets and everything. But people are paying quite a lot of money for these events. They can pay for a paper cup, surely.
I know. And I saw some of the comments on it. People were like, I understand what you're doing, trying to make it more eco, but this is a global marathon. People are flying in all over the country, all over the world, sorry. I don't think a few hundred or tens of thousands of cups really going to make a dent in your environmental footprint of this race. So just, as you say, people are paying quite a bit for it. Give them the water. That's the whole point, that they've done all their training when having to lug around their own water. The least you need is to be provided with it. Could be a blunder.
Could be. Yes, that is interesting. Before we get into our sports stories for this week, I wanted to read out one of our comments about our last week's episode about combat sports from niece of Olympia, Olivia, who reminded, I don't think we spoke about this in the episode. Olivia said, how good was British Bulldog though? Did you ever play British Bulldog?
Yeah. And it's fantastic. It's basically kind of like Run It, but you can actually try and avoid a tackle, which makes it fun. But yeah, did play at school. It can be quite intense. So this is when eventually you try and get to the other side, and if you get caught, you then are one of the people tackling the group.
Yeah. So for listeners who aren't based in the UK, well, which apparently, according to Spotify, 20% of our listeners aren't UK based, which is surprising. Hello to all our international listeners. Let's go. British Bulldog is a game where there'll be like one bulldog, maybe two bulldogs in the middle, and the other players have to run from one side of the pitch to the other without getting tackled, and it could be tag or it could be like a rugby tackle, and then if you're tackled you become a bulldog, and eventually there's a bunch of bulldogs against just like a couple people. It's class. We used to play it at lunchtime at school, and we'd all put our rugby kit on and we'd go play British Bulldog on the field, and until we started to get too muddy, and I think it was banned actually.
There's actually an amazing British, I think it's for the British Lions, can't remember. I think it might be Adidas or Nike, one of the big ones. Anyway, they did it with a British Bulldog game with all the like superstars, rugby, Johnny Wilkinson, Brian O'Driscoll. I think we're going to have an episode, I think, on the best sports commercials. That is one of them for sure. But yeah, fantastic game.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Olivia. How could we forget British Bulldog? Let's get into sporting news then, I suppose.
Sporting news.
Dun, dun, dun. Jimmy Gressier broke the 5K European record in the 5K with 12:51. Damn, that's fast. On the road. On the road. Yes, breaking his previous record by 6 seconds, which means he's now off the world record by just 2 seconds.
Wow.
So that is a fast 5K. 12:51.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. It's we just throw these times out, and I just don't get it, to be honest. But what do you think is more impressive, Jimmy's run or last week? Also, we had another record in the 5K. This was Claire Elms, who broke the record for the oldest person to run sub 18 minutes in the 5 kilometers at 62 years old. She ran 17:45 in Battersea, in a Battersea race in London.
Yeah, that's apparently a big park run. That's where the big dogs come to pound the pavements.
It wasn't a park run though. It was
an official.
It was called like Top Flight Battersea event. Yeah. Very quick.
That is very, very fast. That's very fast.
And for 62 years old,
yeah,
I think that's probably more impressive than Jimmy in some ways.
I mean, Jimmy's only the 3rd fastest ever.
Boring.
Move over, Jimmy. Claire, shout out. That's good. Very impressive.
It is.
I like that a lot. I've got another piece of news sticking in the combat world, combat sports. We had Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora on the weekend. Didn't watch it, but watched the highlights. Didn't really do much for me, to be honest. Then
you didn't see a knockout, did you?
No, exactly.
You want blood, George?
I was like, I just want to see big, hard, powerful slaps over and over again.
Well, this
brutal knockdowns.
When you watch Run It and Power Slaps, everything else is pretty tame.
Am I going to stay up until like 2 o'clock in the morning and not see a knockout? Come on. Anyway, I didn't realise they're both in their 40s now. Wilder, 40, Chisora, 42. Tyson Fury, 37, was asked about the fight, and he said Tyson Fury is fighting this Saturday against Arslanbek Mahmudov. Heard of him? Nah, me neither. Tyson Fury, 37, he said, if I'm 10% as bad as them on Saturday night, take me out to the field, put me out to pasture and shoot me, put me out my misery. So he wasn't impressed either. But yeah, he's fighting this Saturday. We'll see how he gets on, I guess.
Coming out of retirement for the 20th time.
Yeah, I'll get onto that very shortly because I got opinions. But apparently this is starting rumours that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua might actually take place this year, maybe at Croke Stadium in Dublin, home of the Gaelic Games. But Tyson Fury, English. Anthony Joshua, English. Finally, the fight's going to happen probably about 8 years too late, and it's taking place in Ireland. What?
Yeah, many things are wrong here.
I mean, surely that should be Wembley.
But I think they're worried that they won't fill that now.
Two old farts, nearly knocking each other out.
But, whatever.
It probably won't happen anyway.
There's a money reason why it's there, obviously.
But you mentioned his retirement. So Tyson Fury famously said he would never return to boxing even for a £1 billion fight. And here he is fighting some Russian unknown, basically. I don't know. I'm not a boxing fan. On Saturday. And he said things before. I looked this up. He was like, I don't want to tempt fate. I don't want to keep going back and back without getting brain damage or something else. I have no reason to return to boxing. I've got enough money, enough titles, enough fame. He's talking about how he wants to be there for his kids and his wife, doesn't want to keep risking brain damage. And now here he is.
All lies.
Yeah, and now he said, I'm bored of the normal life, dropping the kids off at school, taking the dog for a walk, that sort of stuff. I miss the game. I miss the boxing. So he's bored. So he's now really ready to risk the brain damage just for something to do, I guess. But is that the reason? I'm not buying it. I think that...
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
He needs some money again.
Exactly. He saw the zeros on that fame. Check. One of them.
Yeah.
But that's the boxing news.
Yeah, good news. I'm stepping away from combat sports. I've had enough of it.
Yeah.
Going back to what we know and love, or what we should be doing, which is running. This came up, which I've not heard of before, but I found really cool. A running event called the Starwell Gift event in Australia. And this is super novel, but I think there should be more events like this. But what makes it unique, firstly, it's on a grass track, so it kind of gives sports day vibes. And they invite professional runners, the best, like some of the best sprinters, but they put them against amateurs or people who, not like off the street, but people who are still good, but not, at that level. But they're trying to level the playing field by staggering them. So Sha'Carri Richardson, one of the fastest female sprinters currently, so they have to do qualifying rounds. But anyway, she got to the final, and it's a 120-meter race. So she starts at scratch, which is at 120 meters, and then they stagger the rest of the field depending on their ability and their form. So she was the next best person, I think, was 10 meters away. And then after that, closer and closer to 100 meters. Anyway, this track is grass. It's slightly uphill, and she still won it. She actually wiped the floor with everyone, caught everyone up with about 5 meters to go. After she got to 30 meters, she said she knew she was going to win. And she ran the fastest time in the 148-year history of this event in 13 seconds 08. Yeah, so really impressive. And there's a really cool drone shot of the race. So you see it from bird's eye view and how she's like just basically ticking off these people as she goes past. Very cool.
That's great.
And not many of the elite athletes have won this event. Like they get knocked out in the qualifying rounds or don't manage to win. So there's really not that many of them. There's a really famous one with Kathy Freeman, 400-meter runner. Will know her. Mum will be very aware of her. She was like the poster person of the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games. She won the 400 meters after a 54-meter disadvantage, catching the last person with within a tenth of a second. And even in the final 100 meters, she gets a shove. It totally looks like sports day, but for amazing athletes. Super cool.
Yeah.
So check it out.
I will be checking that out for sure. I wonder if they like running on grass. I don't really like running quickly on grass. I always get a little bit, feel a bit unsteady.
I think running on grass in bare feet is nice. Running. Have you ever tried running on sand that is hard, but not too close to the water where it's a bit sinky, but where it's hard? Honestly, you feel so fast.
Do you?
I think running in bare feet, like sprinting in bare feet, is underestimated. I think it does good things to
it's meant to be very good, isn't it? For your foot health as well. Earthing, grounding.
Yeah.
All that stuff. That's good. I'm going to move on to the Grand National now for a quick news bulletin, because that's taking place this Saturday, the 11th of April. So it will have happened by the time this podcast comes out. But there's already been some races. For example, the Mildmay Novices Chase. I'm going to preface this by saying I do not know about the Grand National. This is all news to me. This is like a big race for novice chasers, which are horses in the first season of fence jumping. So like novice horses, but still big money. The winner would get £67,000 for winning. And
the
this
horse,
year,
I assume.
No. The lord or lady who owns the horse. This year, the winner won it in 6 minutes, 15 seconds, and it was a horse called Golden Dancer who was winning. And then on the final jump, dragged its legs slightly. Its legs hit the last jump, landed awkwardly, but carried on, kept riding for another 15 seconds and won the race. So well done, Golden Dancer. But this is not good news. Shortly after the race, the screens went up. The winning horse, Golden Dancer, was put down because it had broke its back on that final jump. So this horse's last 6 minutes of life were strenuous activity. The crowd's all cheering, being whipped, leaping over these fences, full of adrenaline and all sorts. Breaks its back on the last jump, forced to carry on for 15 seconds. The guy was still riding it, being whipped or whatever, crosses the finish line, wins the race, and then is put down. I'm sorry, but it's like, what are we doing? I really do think in a few generations' time, we're going to look back at some of these and be like, we were going out in our suits and ties and wearing our fancy hats and like having champagne while like people just like whipped horses around that like regularly die. So this like that's like a winner as well. It wasn't like the horse won the race and it was still just like put down. Broke its back. Can you imagine?
Broke its back and then had to carry on running with someone on said broken back.
Yeah. And the horse does slow down. You can tell something's up, but it's not like too noticeable. So
honestly,
the horse is still going.
Just get rid of the fences. Like if you have to race horses, just get rid of them. Like what are they doing? Honestly, they're there just to injure horses. To be fair,
yeah. I mean, I think I'm just fully against it, to be honest. I might upset a lot of people, and I know you like to go out and put your money on the horses or whatever, and understand, but it might be fun. It might be a good old jolly time. That doesn't mean that.
But absolutely, surely no one likes seeing horses being shot on the head straight after they've run a race. Who was that? It feels kind of like gladiatorial, you know. They go out to fight, and then they could just. This is the last acts of life, and they go, "Oh, the horses love it. They love it. They love racing." Well, not when they're running with a broken back and have to jump fences that are like 2 meters high or something.
It's pretty messed up, to be honest. And apparently, 2 horses died at last year's event as well. So, like, they do be dying.
There will be deaths.
Yeah,
there will be deaths this weekend.
Crazy. That's the end of that sad story. Apologies. Yeah. I've got one more. Don't know whether you have any remaining news.
No.
Okay. I'll just quickly, because I got this one from Reddit. I don't normally check Reddit, our Olympics, because apparently the Olympic ticket prices for the LA Olympics were released for the first wave or something recently. Yep. And I didn't know this, but apparently LA residents were promised that this would be the most affordable games. Wonder if that's Trump being like, it's going to be the most affordable. But it has turned out to not be that way at all. So this was someone sharing a screenshot for them trying to get tickets for the closing ceremony. So they're going to be a bit more expensive. But the cheapest tickets, $28, 20 quid. That seems pretty good.
That sounds good.
The section of the stadium that these tickets were, it is a slither, like a tiny little bit, and apparently you get a hugely blocked view. The press box is whatever covering half the thing.
So it's literally so they can just go tickets from $28.
Exactly. Then they suddenly jump up to $200, $140, $640, all the way up. And the majority of the tickets were in Section A, which was $4,961, which is £3,600. So who can buy those tickets? Who's going? Do you know what I mean? Who can buy that? That's crazy.
I'd also argue the closing ceremony is one of the worst things to go to because, you know, what athletics are you seeing?
Yeah.
What sports are you seeing?
So, yeah, I mean, I just wrote that down because that's like the first post I saw, but apparently people are complaining about loads of the sports have gone up, that they're all very, very expensive, much more expensive than Paris, where apparently the most expensive tickets were the swimming finals at $1,000. So could be a very expensive games, and we'll keep you up to date on all the LA Olympic stories right here on Sons of Olympia.
Because we will, of course, be invited out there, and we'll be putting.
We're going to keep going.
Well,
we got time.
So yeah, the World Cup was tickets are exactly the same, completely unaffordable for people who want to travel out and see their country. It's a joke. There was a news story about a guy who sold his house to fund his basically his trip. But then anyway, it turned out that it was his second home, so then I lost all sympathy for him. But yeah, I remember London 2012 trying to get tickets for that, and you just had to say which ones you wanted, and you could end up getting all of them and being like, oh, this could be quite expensive if we get them all. They were, I remember thinking like, it will be expensive if I get all of them, but they're not going to completely financially ruin me. So, and I remember thinking like this, okay, this seems like a fair price maybe for some of them. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, we were, like you said, you'd go on, wouldn't you? And you'd click what events that you'd like to go, and it would be like, just see if you could get them. So there's no way we would be doing that if they were £200 a ticket, which is the like first section, the cheapest thing. There's no way. No. All right. Nice. Good news there, I think, personally.
Very good news, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not good news. No, the Grand National one wasn't good news.
Rest in peace, Golden Dancer. Rest in peace. Let's get into then, speaking of tough events, we're going to be talking about the hardest sports in the world. What are they? What could they be? What do you think?
Let's end this right now. Straight off the dome, I'm thinking I go to naturally if you know, if we're in the pub here having a pint and we talk about this, because this is kind of quite a pubby conversation. Yeah. I go to things like your cyclings, your ultra runnings, your Ironmans is where probably you head, because you're just like, oh, running's quite hard. Imagine running really far until it becomes harder. Cycling's quite hard. Imagine going up a mountain.
For days on end.
Swim is also quite hard. Imagine if you did a swim and then a bike and then a run.
I'm on similar. I was thinking the same sort of thing, but it kind of depends, doesn't it, really? When I was first thinking about it, I was like, by hard, do you mean, like you said, like physically, like what you're putting your body through, what's hard? Or is it like mentally tough? Like, do you have to, I don't know, do you have to think a lot? Or does it hardest to learn? Like, what sports take? And that's going to vary, isn't it? There's lots of different ways that we could look at this. Lots of different approaches.
Several schools of thought, I would say.
There are several schools of thought. And I tried something new this week. I was like, trying really to encourage listener participation, you know?
Yeah.
Turning this into just a two-way chat, into a conversation with our audience. So I asked our Instagram followers, I did a little TikTok, and we got some engagement. We had Alex Jones shout out saying he thinks tennis or maybe boxing. I see both schools of thought there. We had Tiggy, friend of the pod, who maybe he's taken a few too many cricket balls to the head, because he said cricket.
Oh, he's definitely taken too many cricket balls to the head, I can tell you.
You're wrong, Tiggy. All that standing around fielding, that looks really hard, doesn't it, mate?
Oh, I'll have to go in for tea, for my cup of tea and my cucumber sandwiches.
Well, and all your sun cream.
Put my sun cream on.
Oh, did you get sledged? Oh. It's not cricket. We had
ticket, don't worry.
We had a comment from Jonesy at Mr. Jones of Titchfield say single-handed offshore sailing, and I've never heard of this before. I saw this
and I thought, he's having us on here. I don't know what's he talking about? Single-handed sailing. I was like, what are you talking about? What was his handle again? Loans of Titchfield, also.
Mr. Jones of Titchfield, Jonesy.
Mr. Jones, I thought, you're really having us on here. You're trolling us. Turns out, no, he's onto something. Did you look into this?
I have done a little bit of Googling of what on earth is offshore sailing. Do you want to fill us in?
Well, I think he's talked about offshore sailing, which in my head, that's sailing, as opposed to the other one, which is the onshore sailing.
You're trying to trip us up, Jonesy.
See what you're doing there, Jonesy, but I ain't falling for that one. But then he calls out a specific event, which is the Vendée Globe, or the Vendée...
Yeah,
something like that. Vendée Globe, which, I looked this up, held every 4 years, like an Olympics, but it's for a one-man crew, so one person to sail essentially around the world, 4,000 nautical miles around the world, starting in France, and I think sailing round down the Atlantic, passing the Cape of Good Hope, before returning back to France. This can take sailors 65 to 80 days. I think the fastest is 64 days. There's some really strict rules. So no crew, only one person on board. No stopping, no setting foot on land.
No stopping. Can't put your anchor down.
Can't put the old anchor down, because I suppose part of it is, well, then you're sort of protecting yourself from tides and currents, and I suppose part of it is like thinking about those things. I don't know.
I don't understand then. How do you sleep? Are you just like go to bed and be like, good God, I hope I don't get blown into...
I think you need to think about your sleep windows. You don't go, oh, it's getting to 9 p.m, better go to bed. I think you're like, there's going to be a low wind for 20 minutes. I better get a cat nap.
That is crazy. Yeah,
it's crazy. And what I saw this crazy fact about it. There's points in the race where you can find sailors closer to the International Space Station than to any other human. That's how remote you can be. The space station, International Space Station, is 250 miles away. Imagine being in a race and there is nobody for 250 miles. If something happens to you on these tiny little boats, well, they're not tiny, they're not more than a dinghy, but you're pretty tiny in the big ocean. If something happens, you're dead.
Yeah, help ain't coming. I think this is actually a good contender for maybe the hardest, certainly the hardest event, because not only do you have the stress of a race, and you're thinking about, I guess when you're on a boat, you got to think about all sorts of things, wind, ropes. I'm sure there's moments where you get a nice wind and you can be like, chill for a little bit. But that, like you said, that fear of something bad happening, of death, that as well as the stress of the sport would weigh on you for 70 days or whatever. That's very tough.
Yeah. I think if you were to take it in isolation of the physical elements, no, it's not the hardest. Nowhere near. But yeah, on top of the sleep deprivation, the navigation, there's no way I would want to try this. No. I would try an Ironman. I would try, I could try Ironman tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's no way you're putting me in a boat tomorrow and be like, yes, around the world.
You'll die.
Yeah. So I think we may have cracked it.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. We've got some other suggestions. We had at alive_through_vision, who said physically, hockey or boxing. Mentally,
hockey.
Well, let's come back to it.
Okay.
So hockey and boxing physically. They said mentally, endurance sports. I guess that could be all sorts.
Full stop.
They didn't elaborate. Yeah, and they said you're not going to like this one. Most skillful, chess. We spoke about it before. Is chess a sport? And it is recognised, isn't it? The
IOC recognise it.
They recognise it
as a sport.
It's a good one to think about, I think, because it certainly is skillful, but it's almost
What it's is it more just intelligence?
Yes, that's sort of what I'm trying to find the words for.
Like
it's like,
are you just a clever person?
Yeah. Would you know that? Would you say that like learning another language is skillful? It kind of,
It's definitely a sport.
Let us know in the comments what you think about this. Is chess skillful? It definitely is, but is it the most skillful?
But
sport?
what's? Would you say? Would you say if someone did a great move? Oh, you got me with the old Queen's Gambit. Would you say that's skillful? Would you say that's clever? I think it's clever.
Both.
If you said, "Oh, that's a skillful player," I'll be like, "What was he doing? Like flicking his pieces around, like juggling them before he smacks them down."
That's not clever,
but it's skillful.
We could get way down in the weeds with this one. I think.
I appreciate the comment though. Keep...
exactly. And then we had at Norman Bates 94 who said cross country skiing, and again, it's certainly hard. I don't want to put it even in the conversation for one of the hardest. Not when we've been talking about.
Do you not?
I mean,
wow.
You get to go downhill. And you're skiing.
I
know
do
some
think
of it's uphill.
physical ability, I think working at threshold, heart rate threshold for as long as they do makes it kind of a gross sport to go at that levels. But you can do very nice casual cross-country skiing.
Sure.
And in places in Europe, you go from hut to hut, drinking hot chocolates and having, fondues and stuff. So
yeah. And what the longest distance, I believe, at the Winter Olympics just recently was 50 kilometers. And I just don't think that that's going to compete for, like we've said, there's going to be other things we want to talk about, Tour de France, Ironman, that I think are going to be harder in the endurance category.
Yeah, maybe in the endurance category. But I do think there's something about hard, isn't like how hard you're willing to push your body, regardless of distance, time.
Yeah.
But
so your point is that it's like threshold,
physically sick, putting your heart at max for as long as you can. Because maybe this is a good time for me to throw in one of my own suggestions that is within this realm, which is rowing, which I think there's an element of skill, but really not that much skill. And once you've nailed the technique, you're kind of just sitting down. But have you ever seen, there's a documentary called Gold Fever, which is about the famous cockless four of Steve Redgrave, James Cracknell, Tim Foster, and Matthew Pinsent.
Legends.
They are legends. And it's showing what they had to go through to make that team. And they had to do a 2,000 meter time trial on a erg machine, a rowing machine, and seeing what state they are in after trying to push their bodies to this limit. James Cracknell basically is a quivering wreck after trying to hit the time. Steve Redgrave just more or less passes out. He does his final pull, and then he like physically needs support to stand up. Yeah. And after goes, I think basically fainted, passed out.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's tough.
There's no denying that is hard. Yeah.
I think, and in the lead up to this 2,000 meter time trial, speaking to Cameron, like saying, I'm actually really scared of the pain and the hurt that I'm going to go through.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's something in that. I'm not saying it's the world's hardest sport, but I think there is something in,
of course,
pain that you're going to go through.
I agree. And again, maybe it's because I don't know cross-country skiing too well. Are they at that point, cross-country skiing? Maybe in the sprint. I don't know. Look, let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Norman
Do
Bates,
you cross-country
if you're watching this. Yeah.
I think it's similar to cycling, maybe. Similar.
Yeah. So, like, one of mine was Tour de France, right? Similar to cycling races, because, I mean, the distances they do, I think it's like 3,500 kilometers over basically like a month, like 23 days or something, a couple rest days in there. The speed they are riding these bicycles at, averages, I've looked it up, 40 to 43 kilometers an hour, which is 25 to 27 miles per hour average. They're doing 54,000 meters of elevation. That's 6.75 times the height of Everest on their bikes, racing like this. So not only just that is itself is crazy. Then there's the crashes. They're coming off and they're carrying on. I mean, they might get really hurt and come off. But I tried to find this quote. I couldn't remember who said it, when it was like, what does it feel like when you crash in the peloton? And he was like, it's like driving your car at 40 miles an hour, winding down the window and jumping out into a pile of bicycles.
How would he know that?
Well, because they're riding their bikes at that time.
Has he done both?
And you're not wearing anything. You're wearing just like a little skin suit thing, and you get road burn. I mean, I've come up at a period of time where I was coming off my bike all the time, and you graze yourself up big time. And they're horrible. You stick to your bed sheets, your pajamas, stick to your. Can you imagine how hard that is? Getting boo-boos on your PJs. That's the hardest sport.
Well, Tom Pidcock, one of the best British riders at the moment, recently had a crash on a mountain pass. And there's like metal barriers around the hairpins. Hit one of those, flew over into a crevasse. It was only because he had a radio for his team that they were able to find him, because no one saw the crash.
No.
So and he was like quite badly injured, but in the grand scheme of things, dodged a bullet really. And I think he said, definitely used one of my 9 lives today, something along those lines.
You'd be gutted if you had a mad crash and it wasn't even on camera. It's like, please tell me you caught that. I hit the barrier and went into a crevasse. Oh no, I was watching the other way, mate. So you'd be so good. And I do think there's something like, again, something you could talk about with the hardest sports is like how hard the athletes are. Do you know what I mean? Just like physically hard. Because I've probably never ridden my bike as quickly as I did before I had come off it a few times. Do you know what I mean? I just like lost the confidence. I've never taken corners with ease ever again.
Totally.
So for them to like crash and then just be like, no, get me a new bike, click back in, carry on. Sometimes going even faster to catch up in those positions where they're.
Mark Cavendish has been in so many crashes in the sprint because he was a sprinter. So all his crashes would happen at top speed in a bunch. He's been through some serious stuff. And then to get back on and know to even do my job, I can't have any sort of hesitation in my mind. Yeah. I have to just forget about thinking of crashing because as soon as that thought enters your mind, you're never going to win again in your whole career.
That's hard.
Yeah, that's hard.
Do you remember the crash going up the Dilk Drag?
The Dilk Drag in Warsaw. Shout out to those who know it.
An iconic Strava segment past the Dilk pub. I think you were leading me out.
I was leading you out.
And I was giving it everything I got and something happened and I just went straight over the handlebars.
We're going at least 50 miles an hour.
You need to be going a lot quicker than that if you want to take the Dilk Drag. Shouldn't even be shouting out these iconic segments on our well-known podcast. Go take them.
Yeah, but I just wanted to touch on the Tour de France, just on how hard it is, because I pulled out some stats from Whoop. So Whoop are a fitness tracker, a wellness tracker.
Wearable. Yeah.
Yeah. So they sponsor a load of athletes. They sponsor a Tour de France team. Basically tells you how hard you're working, how well you're feeling, how ready you are for an effort. Anyway, they sponsor a team called EF, a Tour de France team, and they found they classify an all-out effort as in a strain score of 18 plus. I think the scale is like 18 to 20, 20 being like the maximum. Anything over 18 is an all-out effort. Every time an EF athlete was on the bike in the Tour de France, scored 18 over days. So all-out efforts for every day of the Tour de France. And multiple days would get over into the 20s on a regular basis. These guys are not just coasting, they're all-out efforts every day. For 3 weeks.
If I mean, are they at 18 for the whole day?
Well, they would just, at the end of the day, they'd be like, that effort was an 18 score. Your body.
Okay.
And it's all relative to, it's not an 18 for us.
Yeah.
This is an 18 for
it'd be 18,000 for me. Yeah.
Exactly. And their resting heart rates are so low. Chris Froome had a resting heart rate of reportedly 29 beats per minute.
Oh my God.
Yep.
I remember hearing in biology class there was like a model heart that I'm holding it up about how big it was, like huge. I don't know, a melon size perhaps. And our biology teacher was like, professional cyclists' hearts can get this big when they're doing Tour de France, and you can't just stop. So if you after that you have to detrain to try and shrink your heart down, because it's so big that if you were to just stop and not use it like that, you can have all sorts of issues and stuff, because your heart's big, pumping so much blood, maybe so slowly, that you got to like
you got to train it down.
Exactly, yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah,
29 beats per minute.
29 beats per minute. When they're riding, they're holding. For anyone who's tried or has any idea of what sort of power you push in when you're cycling, 150 plus watts for hours, 4 hours. 150 watts is really hard to push. Maybe most people on a steady ride are like, 120 if you're really chilling, but 200 or something like that. But to go 350 for hours is insane.
Yeah.
Cycling must be up there.
I think it's maybe that's the one. Maybe that's the one.
But is there
Thanks for
skill?
tuning in.
But is there skill? It's at the end of the day, it's just pedaling.
There is skill for sure, isn't there? Like descending, I always think is crazy.
Not as much as chess.
Not. There's certainly skill in there, but I think the physicality is for sure going to be right up there. You mentioned it briefly earlier. Ironman triathlons, I've got on here as well, because again, it's nuts. I remember the first time probably hearing about this and just as a young man being like, that is crazy. So you do 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, and then you finish it off with a marathon. So it's a crazy event, and that is kind of mainstream now, right? Like people do them. Obviously not like the average Joes, but
I find it funny that we class them as Ironman. That's a brand at the end of the day. It's just long form triathlon.
Yeah,
but we're classing it as an Ironman. But that's a
great branding. Great branding.
And get a TAS on your body as well if you do one.
That's the main reason I would want to do it.
And a brand logo.
Oh, give it to me.
Really? Would you get a logo?
I would for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a friend who's doing a half, and he's basically doing it for the logo.
Yeah. But is he going to get the full Ironman logo if you just do a half?
Actually, yeah, that's a good point.
I've seen people do it where they get it and it's like half of it is filled in.
Oh, and it's just like pending.
It's like yes.
But
then trouble is, it's like, are you just condemning yourself then to like, at some point in my life, I have to do an Ironman? And like your window to do an Ironman is going to be very, very small just for the training to get through it, right? It's going to be really difficult. I don't know how people train for these if they got kids and a job and a life and hobbies and all that. Anyway,
don't they say the average salary of a person who completes an Ironman is something like
saw this 250 grand on TikTok? I saw that.
Is that dollars though?
Dollars, yeah.
Also means I'm saying $250,000. Oh, that means so I'm not that far off then. It's still like, what's that? About 200 grand.
At least 200 grand, yeah. Which is crazy. So if you've got a bit confused there, the average salary of someone who completes an Ironman is over £200,000, which is, again, and I saw people talking about it. It's like, is this because only rich people can afford to like have the time to do the training?
Yeah, they got the nannies and all that.
Yeah. Or someone was saying it's because rich people are like hardworking and have the mindset to like push themselves. And I was like, vom. I don't know. I just think it means that rich people need to find something else that's interesting about them, so they sign up for these.
Anyway, it's definitely a modern midlife crisis. But anyway,
yes. So
I do think it holds a place. There's the highest VO2 max ever recorded was from a long form triathlete, a Norwegian, Christian Blumenfeld, currently running, one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
101.1 milliliters per kilogram a minute. If you know your VO2 max is...
So his VO2 max is 100 and what?
101.
Holy moly.
Do you know what that actually
is? That
means?
101, it's something like the amount of oxygen you can get.
It's something to do with a VO2 max is how much oxygen your body can use, right?
Yeah.
And the higher it is, the more efficient human you are, and usually the fitter you are.
Yeah.
My Garmin says I'm superior.
What's yours? Say it on 3.
Oh, hold on. I think it was like 56.
Is it?
What's yours?
Mine's 53 at the moment. It's gone down from 55 since I started training.
Damn. Hey.
I know. I'm disappointed by it. I'm actually a bit ashamed. Can we cut that? I don't want them to know. That is wild. Just Christian Blumenfeld, I think he's got the record. So he has got 39 minutes, 7 hours, 21 minutes, 39 minutes swim, 4 hours, 2 minutes on the bike, and then finished it off with a 2 hour 35 marathon. Crazy. Or Philip, that's this woman, 8 hours, 56 minute swim, 4 hours, 35 on the bike. She finished it off with a 2:38 marathon, which is crazy.
What?
So that's very, very impressive.
You've done it. Have you done a triathlon?
No,
you haven't. That surprises me.
Run, bike, run.
Oh, that's cute.
Do it with Gaz, actually. Cute. Oh, go on. Tell us about your triathlon.
No, I was just going to say the thought of when you get off the bike to do a run, which you'll have got in your little duathlon, the jelly legs is crazy, isn't it? And and I've also ridden 100 miles as like an event, as a day out, you know, and been completely bonked out my mind, a wreck of a human, basically. The thought of them running a marathon is insane. So definitely mentally, physically, that's a whole. It's how many hours of exercising? Or almost. I bet the average heart rate is probably, you know, in the
their Whoop score will be big.
Yeah,
throughout that
mega. It's like 9 hours of exercise or something mental.
Yeah. So, but I think this next one could be the hardest sporting event in the world. And it's going on right now, taking place from the 3rd of April to the 13th of April. The Marathon des Sables, if I'm saying that right. Have you heard of this?
A marathon in the desert.
It's called the toughest foot race on earth, a 6-day race in the Sahara Desert in Morocco. So you have to do it completely, carry your own supplies and everything.
Yes.
So you got to do your own food. There were communal tents for sleeping in. So I think you can get to these tents, sleep, and then you carry on. It can get up to 50 degrees. You're running in the Sahara Desert, soft sand, 50 degrees, sack on, carrying your own food, aisle. But this story, I think from 1994, sums up how horrendous this event is. An Italian policeman called Mauro Prosperi, 1994. He had already done 96 kilometers over 3 days. On the 4th day, they were going to have to cover 85 kilometers, so biggest day of the run. He was in 4th place. Temperatures were 46 degrees. I mean, just sounds like the worst thing in the world when a sandstorm started to kick up and he couldn't see anything, and the storm was so severe that he actually worried that if he stopped, he would become buried by sand. So he just carried on running through the entire length of the sandstorm, which went on for 8 hours. He was bleeding from his nose. He had sore throats because he was breathing in all this sand because he ran in a sandstorm for 8 hours. And over the course of this storm, he accidentally ran from Morocco. He ran to Algeria. He had gone 181 miles off course. He survived by drinking his own urine, licking dew off rocks. He had to eat bats and snakes. He had a knife with him and he was finding animals and killing them and drinking their blood. Apparently he got so bad that he tried to take his own life. So he slit his wrists and lay down to die. He woke up and he was so dehydrated that his blood had just clotted in his wrists. He couldn't even bleed out. And he said that fact of trying to kill himself actually and surviving motivated him to try and get found. And eventually I think a little girl found him and she raised the alarm. And,
what? A little girl found him? Sorry. Okay, you've ruined the whole illusion that this guy is.
He was in the mountains and he'd come across a little village or something.
He was stuck in a sandpit in a playground.
Yeah. Hi kids, come in.
This guy was just stoned, having a massive trip. He was just on mushrooms.
That was crazy, man. I pretended I was running in the desert trying to kill myself. But apparently now all the athletes have to carry flares because they don't want people running into a completely different country. But flares carry
that was the problem.
Well, I think they would have found him, because apparently planes would fly over and stuff. But he I don't know, he never got found. But a flare weighs 500 grams, so the athletes are annoyed now that you have to carry another 500 grams when you're doing this horrendous multi-day run through the desert. Carry extra weight. That I think's pretty wild.
I do think it's pretty wild. There is something that grinds my gears a little bit around these. I'm not a great runner. You are a good runner, but if I do it in a desert or in the Arctic, then people will notice me, and
you got someone on your mind.
Well, I had this debate with one of my friends recently. He was like, "Isn't Spencer Matthews just doing amazing things? Spencer Matthews from Made in Chelsea, isn't he just so? It's incredible, how he's all these sports he's doing. He's one athlete." I just had to stop him right there. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I'm gonna give a sort of a dialed back version, a more measured.
We don't want Spencer coming after the podcast. No,
but I do think, and respect to what he's doing. Hard, very hard. And he's run a sub 3 hour marathon, and respect to that. but there's also a very much a privilege that allows you to run with a support crew, may I add, in do an Ironman or wherever it is in the Arctic, and fly out there and have everything done for you. Obviously, you still got to do it. Kudos. But who are you comparing yourself to, Spencer? No one else is doing that, because newsflash, the best athletes aren't wasting their time doing that. So I think there's an element of, well done, but I'm not putting you in a category of
hardest athletes.
No, absolutely not. And it's kind of the same with these. I don't want to take a poo on all the comic relief challenges either, because there's, the long bike rides and all this stuff. Yes, because these are normal people doing it. But I think what gets me is that Spencer maybe is thinking that he's one of these amazing athletes now. And I'm like, I think you've just put yourself in these environments rather than, anyway, but that's a sidebar into all of this.
I think you do touch on something that is a bit like, do you know what I mean? Like, he did a bunch of marathons in the desert, didn't he?
Yes.
I don't know how many, but he would have had the support crew there. I don't know how fast he would have run them, but like,
he was never going to die.
Yes, yeah. He's never going to go 181 miles off course and have to drink the blood of bats.
Yeah.
Not saying that.
Is it a bit like Bear Grylls going out there and staying in hotels and saying he's roughing it and...
the hardest geezer around the length of Africa, he did a video once. It was like trying to see the 7 wonders of the world in a day, and I was like, what are you doing? That's like just run. Anyone could get a blooming private jet around. Do you know what I mean? And that's what he did. He just flew to all these places.
I thought he wasn't gonna do some like, fooled you.
No. He just did that. Right. And I was just like, it gets to a point with these like extreme challenges or whatever, and it's just like, I have to, like, what could be crazy? But then it's just like, wait, hang on, if you've got millions of quid, you can do anything, and it's not actually tough.
There's no jeopardy in any of this. Like, you're not, you missed your flight to the number 7. Oh, shucks.
Yeah. Have you got any more?
Well, I'm going to go completely off field now in a realm area that we haven't touched on. Hear me out on this one, and it sort of bleeds into the arts in some way. The cultured man I am. Ballet. Hear me out on this one. So don't poo-poo it. You got to be super strong. You got to be super flexible. You have a coordination. You've got to be unbelievably committed to the craft, not just for like a year, 2 years. The best ballet dancers are those who start when they're really, really young as a child, then often go to ballet schools, which are far away from home, obviously sacrificing time with your family and studies and usually other recreational activities and hanging out. This is all as you're a tiny little kid. Then you're judged on what's kind of like a subjective thing as well, on style and all that stuff, by judges. It's not as objective as running a race where if you're the best, you're the best. The sort of impact on your body. Have you ever seen a picture of a ballet dancer's feet?
Their feet, yeah. Not nice.
Blood, bunions, completely.
I'm talking blood. I'm talking bunions.
Battlestar Galactica. So yeah, I want to put them out there, and then a lot of them could do all this dedicate their whole life to the craft, and never make it, or just be a bit part. And the likelihood you're going to make a living off this is quite small as well. So I'm putting it into the mixer because I think
into the conversation for sure.
Have you ever seen Billy Elliot?
Oh, I've seen Billy Elliot.
And you've seen the size of the blokes. I mean, we're talking blokes as well as the women.
Of course.
Both just hugely athletic specimens. So yeah, I think that, we could roll this into acrobatics and the whole circus realm and as well.
Like gymnastics is something that I certainly think is in there. Again, you have to start young. The time to be pro seems much narrower. Do you know what I mean? Like your peak is much earlier. And It's a good one. I think the fact that you had to start young and it's like kids, sort of for me, sort of like takes it out a little bit, because it's like the parents will just like put their kids into ballet camp, and then maybe for the kids they just like might not know any different. It's just like, oh, it's just what we do. We do ballet all day. I don't know.
Yeah. There's something there.
There's something there, and I appreciate you bringing it up.
No. Oh well, thank you. Thoughts on this one? Golf?
No.
I think there's some people will argue this because it physicality. No, you're wandering around, but the actual act of it is infuriating.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been as frustrated in a sport as I have with golf. I'm not good at golf, and I retired quickly because I was like, this is actually bullcrap. I'm not. I can't see myself getting any better. So I think the actual skill involved is really, really hard to be good.
For sure. That could be true for loads of sports. You know, snooker, darts, badminton, tennis. These are all like very skillful sports, but I think that is like one angle of what the hardest sport is. Remember, we're talking about what is the hardest sport.
Look, we're making a podcast here. We've got to have something to talk about, and I'm saying golf.
It's a good one, but again, I think one of my thoughts was like, just like a racket sport where your reactions are so quick, and you have to train this like almost like instinct to like return these things. There's like, I remember in a book called Sports Gene by David something, he talks about like how some athletes get so good at recognizing like a scene that there was like professional volley players or something, and he would flash a picture on a screen for them, and it would be like a freeze frame of a volleyball match. And he said to an untrained non-athlete, it just looks like a flash of white. And pro volleyball players would tell you where the ball was in the shot, and they could tell you like where it was, like what stadium, and some people like even could tell like the match. They're like, oh, that was the something tournament in something like that. Like they like have learned these like instincts, and I think that is like crazy. I'm sure golf will have this as well. Do you know what I mean? Like the slight neuromuscular, I don't know. But I think there's something about like the reactions that take years and years to like build up.
You become one with the sport.
Exactly, which is certainly going to be hard.
Spidey senses.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think someone put in the comments tennis, and we just sort of brushed over it. But tennis, you add in all the skillful elements, the reaction time, but add that into a 5-setter, 4-5 hours or whatever, and you've still got to do all those things. I think it deserves a place in the conversation for sure.
The twisting, the stopping, the change in direction. I always love the slow-mo shots where they slide.
Yeah, and the mentality not to lose, the belief in yourself. If you're down, you can come back. And there's players who lose it completely.
Yeah, there's some crazy stat, I can't remember it, but it's like the actual percentage of points that you win. That like Federer has actually only won, I don't know, like
just over 50. It's just over 50%, but it's the points that matter that make you a great tennis player. Yeah,
which is crazy, isn't it? That's the mentality
of a champion. Yeah,
and this brings it in nicely to something that I think I can wrap this all up quite nicely. ESPN ranked sports by difficulty by getting a panel of experts to rank them on 10 categories. And these categories were endurance, strength, power, speed, agility, flexibility, nerve, durability, hand-eye coordination, and analytical aptitude, which is like solving problems and patterns and reactive strategy and stuff, which could be chess. And they looked at
aptitude.
60...
That's the word we're looking for.
So these looked at 60 sports from these 10 experts, ranked them on these 10 categories. I think all these experts were American, by the way, because I think that does impact the category. So what do you reckon is the top sport? What ESPN have said is the hardest sport?
Oh, is it going to be something rubbish like American football?
American football is third.
Oh, give me a break. Where's rugby then? Surely must be above that.
I don't think rugby's on there.
See, this is flawed immediately.
Yeah.
Flawed immediately. I don't know. What do they put? Cycling. Well, a bit. Boxing.
Boxing at number 1. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. You have to be fit, strong, mentally tough.
Yeah, it ticks a lot of those boxes.
Yeah, for sure. Reactions, all that.
Yeah.
Ice hockey in second, no.
It's a no. It's a hard no as well from me.
And again, I think this one is maybe the most egregious so far. Basketball in fourth. Again, it's difficult. It's got skill, and again, you have to have good fitness. But that's all professional sports. I don't think that alone can make it the hardest. Wrestling in fifth, above martial arts.
Wow.
And they've so martial arts is sixth, tennis seventh, gymnastics, baseball is in the top 10. Baseball. Well, again, it's going to have the skill, but that's it.
Wow, this is really biased, isn't it? I think. I mean, I think we have talked about events also within sports like sailing, and we're talking about a specific around the world version of it. Marathon running specific. So yes, we have gone off tangent a bit, but God, to put basketball number 4 is insane. Yeah.
Take a guess at what was the last place, 60th, with a score of just 14 points.
Are you gonna say it's something like running or cycling or?
No.
I'm gonna say snooker.
Fishing.
Yeah. Oh, is it a sport? Is a question.
According to ESPN. What do you think, listeners? Fishing, is it a sport?
I think it's a pastime.
It's a hobby. I guess there's competitive fishing, but there's competitive all sorts. Bird watching.
Exactly.
Second time I've mentioned it this podcast.
Are you into bird watching?
No, well, let the listeners decide. But I think that ties us up, rounds us up quite nicely.
Yes.
To finish off, what would you say? What's your number one? What is the hardest sport? Gun to your head.
Man.
You better tell me what the hardest sport is right now.
I really don't know what to say, to be honest. I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer.
Maybe that's
honestly, I don't know.
Maybe that's a nice way to leave it. I could pick one out of about 4 that we've mentioned, which is probably all of the ones that we've deep dived into. But
yeah, I can't.
We'll leave it.
Yeah,
let's leave it up to the listener. Let us know in the comments, what is the hardest sport? Love to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you've enjoyed this podcast, give us 5 stars, follow us, social media at Sons of Olympia Pod, and let us know your thoughts, or if you have any other ideas for episodes or whatever.
Yeah, keep it on those channels, because we do, we will be asking you for thoughts on topics, and your answers will feature in episodes. So,
all right. That was a good one. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yep.
All right. Thanks,
pleasure,
everybody.
George.
Yeah.
Bye-bye now.
See ya.